What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So it appears that Warner Bros. Games Montreal is doing it the right way. The trailer recently that was just revealed, which is the gameplay launch trailer, has actually had a lot of a warm welcome from members of the community. In fact, there are all kinds of comments that are going around, and for those of you who saw that last video, I was able to catalog some raw reactions from even the YouTube channel from the Warner Media page or Warner Brothers, YouTube channel. Now, something really came to light as these conversations were going on our channel here, the Video Game Fight School channel. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there because, man, these are some really interesting shots fired. Because I think this game has had to deal with so much. I mean, we've talked about a lot of the audience division and community members not necessarily being in a spot where they really know what they want to do with this game. But this one is just quite delightful. And so I got to throw it out there for you, ladies and gentlemen. So Blind Studios YouTube, under my video just now, was actually replying to some comments about people talking about how that cinematic was probably something that they needed to show that was actually in that art style or design. Blind Studios out here deciding, man, I'm going to end these people's careers, went ahead and said, there's a Gotham Knights show, but it ain't as good as this. Bro, that is the coldest thing I've ever seen. In a YouTube comment section this month, man, that is a huge swipe at whoever is deciding that they were going to be the showrunners for the Gotham Knights TV show. Now, it seems a little mean that I'm actually doing this. Well, I don't necessarily intend to be mean, but there is a part of me in the fandom that's had to basically work with a lot of the different digs that have been coming at Gotham Knights, trying to dispel a lot of the fog surrounding this game, providing things in context, and then somewhere, somehow, in a few months, we're going to have to deal with this algorithm confusing aspect of a TV show that co-opted the name of this particular video game. A video game that has been in expectation for so many years. I don't quite see how I can be as open-minded as that to allow for a TV show to come in and just take on that same name. For the longest time, many of you remember that this was something that the community had to deal with. The developers had to put, the word out there that this has nothing to do with our project in order for people to be able to get what the difference was for the most part. But by and large, that was just a side note. One thing that I wanted to highlight in this video as well is I think the marketing coming full circle is actually changing the perception of the game. I'm seeing a lot of comments to the effect of, man, I really do wish that this launch trailer that was actually shown was the trailer that was used to, pretty much represent or introduce the game to audience members. Well, the truth is, the trailer that was actually used to represent and actually launch the game in the first place in 2020 was also another cinematic CGI trailer. Now, it wasn't necessarily overly action-based. It had to provide story and narrative elements as well as some of the action. This launch trailer is much more specific. It cuts to the heart of the narrative in terms of internal conflict. So let's jump into cinematic writing because I watched a YouTube video. Hey, it's not like I know anything. I learned this stuff from people out here. One time, a cinematic writer who makes YouTube videos and critiques stories mentioned something that really stuck with me. They said that one of the best things you can do to a character is you can create an internal conflict within that character and also an external conflict. The internal conflict is to make the character relatable, to make the character actually feel more human, or at least have the human element, so that the people who are dealing with that character, whether it be gamers, whether it be people that go to watch the movies or the cartoons or animated series, can actually resonate with your character. You don't want your character to be beyond that aspect of things. So even when you write Superman, a character that is just beyond human, capabilities in the most part, you make him susceptible to human emotions, like loving a human being. That's why Lois Lane actually exists, in my opinion anyways, for the most part. She is one of the characters that brings him down to earth with so much ease. A character like Batman is a billionaire. He's in a very small category of people, and so what you do to a character like that is you make him somewhat relatable and you put him in a really huge human disadvantage. He's not easy to make relatable, by the way, but you have to do it somehow. And so writing Batman in a sense that he's an orphan already kind of tones down that super ability for him. Another reason that another billionaire who is also pretty solid but is not as popular as Batman doesn't seem to gain that popularity, in my opinion, is because I haven't necessarily seen too much of how you can make him as relatable as Batman, and that's Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. So this is what I think this trailer tried to do. It tried to bring out the human element of these characters much more. They already are kind of human. They have a lot of disadvantages. The cartoons and the TV series have done a good job in the internal conflict of all of them. But here, I think that's another thing that they're pointing towards. You're going to continue to see it all over the place. So that's why Alfred was pretty much stating all of the doubts that they all are feeling, or at least will have to encounter over the course of this game or the story and the narrative. But then the external conflict is supposed to balance out the character. The external conflict would then help the character rise above all of these different negatives that are within the character that continue to play in their heads in order for them to be able to go out there and conquer. And I think that's the biggest thing that this particular, showcase has done for their story and their narrative team. I think Gotham Knights is going to enjoy the narrative elements. In fact, in all of the previews, it's the one thing that all the previewers have actually said has been solid. So whenever they want to build up from here, I strongly believe that this is where their story element is going to actually go from. And I have to correct, or at least address, two things from this video. One, I thought that cinematic was actually done in Unreal Engine, but one of the developers who worked on the game actually corrected me and said that cinematic, the new one that was just released for the launch trailer with the doubts and everything, was actually done outside of Engine with other platforms. So he's pretty much helping me find out sources where I can see potentially what kinds of software they would have used to render that cinematic trailer, because that quality is super high end. I've even seen people say, man, I wish we could get video games like that. But at that point, we'll be paying, maybe double digits for our gaming machines to be able to play at that quality. Another one is in my other video where I talked about how I felt fans were not necessarily the most flexible in terms of accepting all of what Gotham Knights has to be. I did mention that I thought it was going to be likely, or I would prefer, if Warner Bros. Games Montreal did not touch any other game in the Batman universe. Now, this is coming from my frustration as well. I know they can do other things, and I wanted to address it in this video because I strongly believe they've done such a good job that their resume right now, once they bring out this game and it fleshes out its story, they can take it and adapt it to any other game. If they choose that they want to make games in the Batman universe, that's a prerogative, but I'm not going to be worried anymore. In fact, I have no concern. I've always thought that even from the writing in Arkham Origins all the way down here, I knew they were going to do a good job. If the only thing that we're having qualms with is how the gameplay satisfies everybody, I think we can fight about that once the game is eventually released and we get their hands on it. Then we can go back and spar as to those elements. In fact, I already am working on how I'm going to structure my review of this game. I really want to do it in a very unique sense so that I can actually highlight the areas of the game that brings together some sort of an aggregate score and all of the above. But stay tuned to the channel. Those of you who are new to the Video Game Fight School channel, I just wanted to say thank you very much for tuning in. Those of you who are already, veterans here, I just want to also say thank you very much for all of your support. If you've not hit the notification bell to know when the videos are going out, please do so. I don't have a set schedule at this point because a lot of information and details are coming out in quite sporadic forms. I mean, I think we're probably going to be getting something every day or every other day, but I'll do my best to make sure that you guys are updated and you guys are in tune with this project. And hopefully we'll talk in another video. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.